welcome you all in this session. This is an important session that we decided will be interesting to you all. We are in this corona period. We are trying to understand the functioning of the newsroom in a television news channel, and what are the changes that have taken place in the newsroom. And this is not only the question of today, because even after this lockdown is over and we get rid of this COVID-19, even after that, I believe there are a lot of things which are going to stay in television news channels. So this is something which will definitely an area of interest to all media students, as well as media practitioners, media educators and researchers. So the world will be completely changed, and we have to look at as what all is going to be changed, what all going to stay, and how we have to be familiar with whatever changes are going to happen. Because as educators, if we understand this, then we will be in a position to tell that all to our students who will be the budding journalists. And the students also need to understand this all, so that they can prepare themselves for tomorrow's journalism. So for talking on this very pertinent issue, I requested Peenaz Tyagi to be with us, and she has kindly agreed to talk to us on this particular topic, which is TV newsroom in the corona time. I welcome Peenaz to this program.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Peenaz has been in journalism for very, very long, almost more than 15, 16 years. And she was initially with Aaj Tak, and then switched over to different news channels. And finally, she is the editor and anchor in the news channel News Nation. She is a complete news person. She is a complete broadcast journalist. So that is how we are talking to her, because she can give you the kind of insight which is otherwise difficult to get. So to begin with, if I can ask you, Peenaz, though we are talking as to what are the changes which are happening in the TV newsroom, but at the outset, there are a lot of such people who are not so familiar about the inside of a TV news channel. So my first question to you, Peenaz, will be that if you can elaborate a little in brief as to how a television news channel functions, what all is done in the news channel, what kind of departments are there. So giving you an overall picture of a TV news channel. Peenaz.
Thank you, sir. First of all, for your all kind words, and I'll try my best to impart all my learnings throughout this corona period to the students and everyone, which help them to prepare themselves as a future journalist. So first of all, we have assignment where news comes from all over India and world via agencies and via reporters and stringers. They offer the news to the output desk. Output desk is mainly consist of people who are a copywriter, and they write the news, and then it reach out to editors, video editors, where they package it. The packaging department package it, they edit it. Then a capsule of a news story is prepared for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, depending on the requirement, and it reach out to the PCR. They telecast it. Anchor reads out the anchor link, and then the story plays, or a breaking news, depending on the scenario. And this is the internal newsroom setup. Then there is a newsroom which works outside also. That's input. The department which gathers news mainly consists of reporters and stringers and bit of news agencies. So in corona times, the most challenging part was to adhere the issues, limitations faced by the input department, that is reporters, camera person, driver and assistant.
Can you focus a little bit more about the newsroom and then making a comparison how it used to function before this corona happened, and after this corona has penetrated into our life and into the functioning of the newspaper? What were the things there, and what kind of changes are happening during this period?
Okay, let's go step by step. First of all, TV is an audio visual medium, and to make sure everybody work as a team and in a coordination, because in the news, coordination is very important. So you go to any channel, any news channel, you will find they try and make them sit on a same floor so that there should not be any communication gap. Anybody can reach out to anyone easily. So it's like we sit very closely uh, in a one open space. We make sure the space is open and everybody can. We don't use telephones. We try and talk to each other because we want to see the visuals also. We want to talk to the assignment also. So we don't keep a physical distancing, which is very important nowadays. So we don't usually keep a physical distancing. All the departments we try and make sure exist on the same floor. Like tomorrow, if you intend to design a news channel sitting, then you try and make sure your assignment team, your output team, your guest coordination team, your uh, video editing team, they all sit on a same floor. So the biggest barrier was to break the social cohesiveness into social distancing, because no journalist is used to working on phones ke wo visuals dekhe kya, have you checked those visuals, the feed is there. So it was very challenging to segregate the departments from one floor and to develop a comfortable situation. Like producer is writing a script, assistant producer is checking the visuals on some other floor, because we have to keep the social distancing in mind, and they are narrating the visuals on phone. Sir, these are the visuals, kindly write down the script, this is the bite, this is the person who's making this statement, so write accordingly. So it was very challenging for anybody. Like usually what happens is like you have a one writing computer which has a software named as Octopus, which we use. So you keep on writing on this all the information, research, data, and on your right hand side usually they give you a machine where you can see the visuals. So your assistant producer usually helps out with the visuals and the audio bites, and accordingly, producer writes the script. But now nobody can sit just next to me because we have to maintain a social distancing. So it was very challenging to condition your brain. You might not get to see the visuals very often. You have to go to another floor to see the visuals. It will be very time taking. You have to trust your assistant producer. Okay, we have a visual where lots of people are running to catch a train, or where panic is there. So he needs to assume, he needs to believe his assistant producer more, and then accordingly write a package. And the editor used to sit somewhere else to maintain the social distancing. So, and also editor is sitting somewhere else, and the editor needs to be told like, this is the script, these are the visuals you need to put. To again, only throughout the phone call we were available. At times we used to go physically and used to see the package also, but it was very time taking because the company made sure like you are sitting in one place, other place, and the third place. And social distancing was one more thing. Like we all know, if anybody in a newsroom ends up having a corona, then the whole news channel will get sealed for a while, and no company wants that. No company would like to take that risk. The show must go on, as we hear in our business. So what we have to do is like, then many channels prepared corona newsroom sitting plan accordingly. Few decided to have three different locations. Like one location, one team, A team is working in one location, B team is working in another location, and C team is working in another location, and they are not coming in touch with each other. So just in case A team gets infected, or anyone from the A team gets infected and the A team needs to be isolated for 14 days, B and C team can run the channel. One was this practice. The news channels uh, who can afford and who have infrastructure at other places, they opted for this one. The channels where the infrastructure was limited to a particular building and they don't have another resource to set up at another place, what they did, they divided themselves into three teams: team A, team B, team C. And they put the news on wheel for a while. Like suppose my shift starts from 5 o'clock and ends at 2 o'clock. The next shift will start at 3 o'clock. So that 2 to 3, the whole building and the whole system and everything gets sanitized. Team A is not allowed to meet team B, so that just in case if anybody gets infected from team A, so team B never came into the contact. Few people opted for this thing, like 1 hour gap in each team for the sanitization and the cleaning up of the system, and make sure they don't meet each other. The third option was what they did was like few people are working continuously for 7 days, then they go into 7 days of isolation. Then 7 days working, then 7 days of rest or you say isolation, so that if just in case anybody develops a symptom, so you have a, a period for symptoms turning up or something like 7 days period. Few opted for this thing. They divided themselves into 4 5 categories. One category was essential, one was non-essential, one was extremely essential, one was emergency. So one team was kept as a backup for 14 days. They were given leave. 14 days you're not supposed to come to office. You will be a backup team just in case anybody comes as a corona positive. So we have a backup of a team where we have PCR team, technical team, you have video editors, you have anchor, you have producers, you have assistant producers and reporter, so that just in case your first two teams end up with corona disease, so this your emergency team can come into the action because they are on leave for 14 days, so that means they don't have corona, so they can take up the charge.
Can ask you, Peenaz, something about the studio management and the PCR. PCR, particularly, if you look at the PCR, there's hardly any social distancing in a small space. So many people are closely sitting and working there. And then how this PCR working per se changed, as you explained?
Yes, sir. Sir, nowadays PCR, like for example, in my office, I mean, we have a huge PCR where we automatically there is a social distancing already there, and it is
Okay.
in two-tier system. One thing is on a higher pedestal so that they can see the visuals and everything, the sound and switching guys, and the frontal ones are the one who are you're basically the panel producer and the graphics fire guy. So there is a automatic social distancing in my PCR. But you, as you rightly said, there are few PCR which are like very closely and like they don't have a social distancing thing. So there, one person took multi roles. Like if I'm a
Okay.
panel producer, I'll as well as fire the graphics also, so
Okay.
that graphics person can be given off or should not sit next to me. So these were the few changes which were brought in. And as you said, like the studio management and the PCR management, if I'll go one by one, like anchors, first of all we stopped doing double anchor shows, because in double anchor shows the anchor sits quite closely, and if we do double anchor shows then we end up violating the social distancing, so it'll be sending a wrong message to the entire population and viewers. So we stopped double anchor shows. The second thing was, just in case if any anchors end up falling sick, and they might infect others also, so uh, again there was ABC team was made, no contact with each other. Then also we have like backup studios at home. Like for example, I've been given training where there's a app, uh, it's a specific app of a Dejaro live view, usually the units which we use to do the live from all over the world. So the app is installed in my phone. So I have given Mojo setup, mobile journalism setup, where I have to be my own cameraman, own anchor. So standees were given, so that at my place I have made a small corner in my library area where there's a standee. There's a light which I fixed so that the yellow light, the kind of a studio light, and then I put a standee. Then there's a tripod, selfie stick tripod, where I fixed my camera. So if needed, I can do the bulletins from home so that the social distancing can be made, and a backup is there, like just in case if office has to be sealed or something, god forbid if corona case comes up or something, so anchors can run the show from the uh, home also.
This work from home concept has started. So this is really astonishing for the people who understand the functioning of the news channels, that how it is possible for a journalist to work from home, because the kind of working in a news channel, that's hardly to believe, but that's happening. So how this whole work from home concept is happening in news channels?
So what we did was like we divided our workforce into certain segmentation. Like producer can work from home, editor we can't allow to work him from home because there's a threat to the security of the feed, the news feed, the copyright issue is there. So uh, only producers and research team, we allowed them to work from home, and bit of assignment team. so that in the office social distancing can be made. We have a backup team. So there are shows. Suppose there is a show which I'm supposed to make on China role in Corona. Okay. So the person is given access to my octopus so that they can see the feed which is coming. They can see the information. The research team is sending them the data via mail. They are on the WhatsApp group of newsmakers. Like all people are like exchanging what feed is coming, what information is coming. So they combined everything and they worked on the packages which are more program based packages. They were not like I'll say news packages or
News
current news
video.
packages. Yeah, they were like more on a feature packages, like a backgrounder package which don't require you to see the visuals, which don't require you to hear the sound bite of a person. So they were working on the backgrounder packages or programming kind of stuff which don't require much of listening of the statements. And if at all, if it is required, so what we were doing is like we were using WhatsApp.
How the reporters are managing the whole thing and how they are trying to avoid themselves so that they do not get infected by the corona. So how the news gathering is happening and what kind of changes have happened in the news gathering.
So it's a very good point you highlighted, like, because I personally feel, because no matter right now, I'm holding a designation of editor, and it's been 17 years in the field. I worked with Z News, Aaj Tak, Hindustan Times, and this finally with News Nation. So I always say I'll remain a news reporter. So during this Corona period also, I make sure I go out and report, because otherwise I don't feel satisfied if in such a big event you don't go out and report. So you feel incomplete. So the biggest challenge was to groom. Young reporters were very enthusiastic. They wanted to do it. But as a senior, as a management, it was a responsibility to make sure hosh na khoye josh mein. They should not lose their mind in the excitement and enthusiasm. So what we did was, first of all, was like to we educate them. Like, it is very important to make, first of all, we prepared them mentally. Like, corona won't kill anyone until unless you are sugar patient, you have diabetes or high blood pressure or any other disease and all. So first of all, the education was given, then the willingness was checked. Like, are you willing? If you are scared and then you go out, then it won't help, because it will create the panic. Fortunately, all our young soldiers were very much willing for the reporting. And the third thing came was company's role. They made sure they were given sanitizers, they were given solutions so that the equipments are cleaned on a regular basis. There was a symptom checker, like every reporter, every cameraman, or anybody working in an organization needs to tell, like, I don't have any symptom. And if at all, I developed minute system. There is a team of like doctors also. Like, if you need it, the company will provide you the support of the doctors. They can counsel you, like they can advise you with the medicine. And if the test is needed, the company assured each and every employee the test will be conducted with the help of company, and the company will bear the whole costing of the same. So first you give them the confidence. You company will stood by you by each and every mean. Company will look after your safety and security by each and every mean, and mentally prepare you and see your willingness, then move out. This is the part, usually the functioning part. But if we'll talk about like from a reporter's perspective, first of all, the mics were given. You must have seen nowadays there's a big rod attached to the mic, so that the social distancing is maintained. I need not to uh, give my mic to someone and go closely. I can just take the rod like this, and the mic will reach out to the person. So the social distancing was maintained. The second thing which we did was uh, sanitization of equipments regularly, and we try and make reporters as an individual unit. Like, discourage cameraman, reporter, and driver, three of them going for a shoot, because the chances of infections were high, like if all three of them going together. So we wanted to uh, save our manpower also, like by not exposing them to the odd circumstances. So what we encouraged was mobile journalism. So everybody was given a Mojo kit, which includes a mobile app where you can directly transfer, and a mic and everything, so that you can shoot and you can deliver. Then the second question comes, if a reporter needs to file a story, they need to support it with the authorities interview or a concerned person views. For the same, mobile again came very handy. Like we requested the authorities, like because they also knew like it is very important for their safety, so they willingly agreed to offer their video recording. Like they used to record whatever the statement they wants to give, and they used to give it to the reporter. So reporter used to arrange via their contacts those bytes on a WhatsApp on a call recording, and accordingly we used to collect the news visuals and as well as the sound bites for the story. So one thing was this, then PPE kits were provided, then uh, every gear was provided, but reporter was made self-sufficient to do the story on their own without the help of a cameraman. And I personally feel it's gonna go long way, because everybody wants to work with the minimum resources nowadays. Earlier it used to say quality should be your priority, but
Yeah.
now it's not the quality in the news. They are okay with a bit of shaky visuals. They are okay with the guest sitting on a Skype or a Zoom call or via app. They are fine. They don't need to set those big OB vans or those machines. So news channels are also realizing news gathering was a very expensive affair. And if during this Corona time we opted for this option, and it is working fairly fine, you see, all the channels debates are going, all the channels sound bites, visuals, everything is coming.
Incidentally, after 20, 30 years of TV journalism in India, at least the news and the quality of news has come to the center stage, and all the other things, added things, they have become now the secondary, which is a welcome thing, no doubt about this. And then if we talk about the technology, which actually you discussed in very detail, even this whole Mojo concept is not a new thing. For many years, it has been introduced in the West. In India also, NDTV was the first television channel which came out with the concept of started practicing Mojo, and then other channels started doing it. But now every channel is compelled to do it. So in such a scenario, what will happen as far as the impact of this change in the technology is concerned? What will happen, meaning thereby whether there will be no requirement of the cameraman or their other technical staff, only the reporter will be competent enough doing this all.
So right now, so it's fine, Mojo. But
Yeah.
when again I have to run a channel where after every half an hour my viewer want a taste change. It's like ये तो पिछले bulletin में भी यही सुनाया था. Now the news was something similar in the last bulletin. I want something different, and I need to compete with my fellow news channels. Then again, I need quality. Then again, I need different subjects. I need to send a reporter to some interior areas with the camera person. I don't think so. It will change totally. It's just that it will make uh, it will increase our digital news viewing a bit more. Like suppose I'm a anchor. What I'll do is, like, now I'm so familiar with Mojo thanks to the Corona time. Everybody is so familiar with Mojo. Like if there is something happening, so I will do a Facebook live or a YouTube walkthrough. I'll record till the time my cameraman comes in. So one person will made to work for digital also, will made to work for news channel also. So I don't think so things will become totally irrelevant or there'll be job loss. But yeah, few changes will come. Like for example, like earlier we were totally dependent on OB vans for the live. Then there was a big 12 kg machine came in with different companies, Dejaro, Liveview and all. Now the machine size is this much, and now even that machine is not required. You just need the app in your phone. So with the time, there were certain equipments, certain things will go, but I don't think so. Video journalists are
Yeah.
equally very important part of the system. They won't go.
So this means the whole concept will be that of the multimedia newsroom, which many news channels have already started, in fact.
Yeah.
My last question to you, as you yourself said that all the time the main news is that of the corona, and most of the channels are doing it. What does it mean? This means corona is the only news in the day. There is nothing else important happening in the country. So either nothing important is happening in the country, or it is like that TV channels are completely ignoring that. And if it is the case, whether it's a fair selection of news.
Sir, I'll say by and large, right now, whatever is happening, I'll say whatever is happening is related to corona only. For example, if you say train travel started, it is related to corona. If it is some new guidelines are coming, it is related to corona. If there's economic boost package is announced, it is economic news, but it is related to corona. Even if we'll go on TikTok, so there are TikToks flooded with corona. So if I want to give my viewers a different change, a lighter mood, then also if I'm making a viral news of corona, then also it is related to corona only. If there is right now the scenario is such, everything is interconnected with the corona. Hardly very few news are coming up, and we've seen this is a pattern. Like for example, I would like to share like Bark, which release data for the news channels, TRP and everything. So there's a 43% increase in India in TV viewing, in US also, and in news there's a spike of almost 200% which has come up for news viewing in 12th and 13th week when the lockdown started in India. Slowly, gradually, it has come down. But there was a time when it was a huge peak spike in the news industry. So that time we experimented. Like, for example, we thought like people would like to watch so much of Corona news throughout. So what we did was like we offered them like let's have uh, some interaction with some TV star or a singer or anybody celebrity. So those things, you I think if all the students and participants must have seen news of late in last 2 months. Initially every channel started, some channels started with the Antakshari, some channels started with the celebrity interviewing. Everything faded. Why? It didn't give numbers. We realized people just wanted to know corona updates, nothing else. They are not interested in what Salman Khan is doing in his lockdown. They are not interested in any lighter news. They want hardcore news initially. Then they were okay, the audience, the viewers were okay seeing bit of lighter things, but again in and around corona.
I agree with you that it has to be related to corona, but then the way the news is being delivered, it is a little bit depressing.
At times we do feel depressing, sir, but trust me, at times what we see and what we deliver, what we actually hear, like if I'm interviewing 10 doctors, for example, and 10 doctors are coming up with so much negative news, I can't help it out. Like I can't change their views suddenly. So when AIMS director says the situation will be worst in June and July, I mean, I too feel depressed. I too feel negative. But what to do? This is a fact. I have to report what I hear. So if I'm seeing there is a spike in like a doubling of cases started in 3 days, so I have to report. These are the data which are saying. So, but yes, to keep up the morale of the people high, we try and include facts like the death rate is not much in corona. You can fight the corona. We do give such information. But the unfortunate thing is the data is coming from the world says the corona is going to stay with us and we have to learn
Yeah.
with the corona only.
So with this, we stop here as far as me asking the question to Peenaz, and I will leave the floor open to the participants. Anybody who wants to make a point or have some queries, some questions, so they can please ask.
मैं DME में पढ़ाता हूँ और मेरा एक सवाल था कि how is government of India doing according to you in fighting COVID-19, because you are into journalism and you are in Newsroom, so you might be knowing more than us. So how is government of India doing?
So whatever we know, we report. Uh, I think, see, nobody is perfect, and managing a 130 crore population is not an easy task with the limited resources as a developing country. And if we'll see, it's very easy to say the tests are not happening, there'll be more cases, the government is not doing this and that. We have to admit it, with the 130 crore of population, with few timely taken step, like we have performed fairly fine. Yes, there are some loopholes which are needed to be addressed, and government is addressing, and uh, you know uh, they are facing criticism on some fronts. So it's a mixed baggage. That's what I said, like it's not easy to say in one go they are good or bad. It's a very mixed baggage. But I personally feel, if you ask me, government is fairly doing fine.
Yeah, Dr. Sindhu.
Well,
Please ask.
Peenaz, thank you very much for giving us wonderful information to us. I just want to ask you one thing. Like you have been telling the way journalists were deputed, I feel that do we need more and more training in health journalism, or you say science journalism?
Absolutely,
Did you feel this
110%.
shortage?
Yes, I personally feel it is needed. I personally feel it is needed. uh, like you know at times we come across with the terms which we are not familiar with. Like, in usually you have a defense journalism course which Ministry of Defense conducts for journalists, where you send every journalist, and they opt for that course for, like, it is for 45 days or 60 days, I don't know. Like, you can send one or two representative from your media organization, so that they get familiar with the defense terms, because defense reporting is not easy. Like, there are words which you won't get to hear in day-to-day language, and there are certain limitation guidelines when you do defense reporting. I personally feel after this pandemic, uh, we should have a small, say, crash course for the journalist covering this beat.
Peenaz, thank you very much for sparing such a long time and touching upon all relevant aspects of today's topic and addressing and responding to all good questions which have come. And I'm also thankful to all the participants, because participants included all across the country and outside, and they comprise from students to media educators and journalists. So I'm really thankful for all the participation. Thank you all.